Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see everybody. You should see my screen. Good morning, Greg. Good to see you. You should see my screen. You should hear my voice. I'm going to give it just a minute here. Make sure that everything gets turned on. Good morning, Perry. Good to see you. All right. Loud and clear, Sandy said. It's light this morning. This beautiful, it's 18 degrees in Utah. Had a great posture last night or yesterday. Welcome out to the Market Watch Group weekly opening bell, where we take what we gleaned from the market yesterday and say, all right, how does it look now that we see the market starting to open, right? Like, okay, now we transition our market posture into our trading posture and try to align those two during the week. Here are the disclaimers. As always, educational illustrative purposes only, not a recommendation to buy or sell. We are not advisors, yada, yada, yada. Okay, what's our agenda today? Let's look at the futures. Let's look at the news that's coming out this week. A quick review of what is on the economic calendar this week and what our posture is, what our thoughts are then for any open trades. I would imagine you have some trades that you're carrying from last week into this week. The current list of what looks good. Financials had the most things lined up. I would say behind that was industrials. I think I need a new list. I had a written list somewhere, but this looks old. I'll start a new one. And then this trading plan section of the week. It's, surprisingly, I believe we're on section 7. So we only have one more week and we have our first pass of the year. All you got to do is give me 3 hours a week. No, all you got to do is give me 1 hour a week. And each week you'll have a phenomenal trading plan at the end of that process. Let's dive in and get into it. Futures are flat to slightly down. You can see we were overnight a little negative, and then we popped up this morning, and then we popped back down minus 0.04, marginal. Dow down 0.11, marginal. NASDAQ 0.03, same transition as the S&P, popped up into positive, retraced back down slightly negative. Russell futures are positive 0.3. Crude oil's down 1%. We're watching a little bit of crude, right? We're kind of wondering, is it gonna have some implication? There was a little bit of a pop back up, and we're just keeping our eye on that, right? Nothing too much. Nothing too much. Futures are steady. Now, first key inflation data to test the stocks rally. What inflation data is that? Well, let's go talk about that. It's not today. So referencing it is correct. It's not today. Today we have just a couple of sub chairman, regional chair, Fed speak. Then tomorrow, it's all about CPI. That's the first bit, CPI. Wednesday, nothing, just a little bit of Fed speak. Thursday, full of mid-level reports, jobless claims, sales, production, capacity utilization. There's a decent amount in there. And then Friday we have PPI. So we have consumer level, then we have producer level for inflationary reports. Those are the things that we're looking at. Okay, so that is discussing what's coming up tomorrow and then again later in the week on Friday. That's it. That's it for the news and the economic calendar. So what are the things that we're still watching then? Right? What's on our mind? What's on our mind is still the Fed. And still the Fed with when it's going to cut rates. And I would expect us to stay pretty steady here. How far away are we at this point? 37 days. So we are 5 weeks and change from where the Fed is making its next announcement. We have a pretty good read on the probabilities. And you can see here, better than 50-50, but not by too much. All right. Let's go take a quick peek at our futures and let me pull up the ES. You can see it's quite flat, just flat up here at this top. Would we be surprised by a pullback? A general pullback in the S&P? No. No, I don't think that we would call ourselves surprised by that at all, right? Could it continue to extend? Of course, we know that it can. It can just kind of grind higher. When it pulls back, it might pull back mildly. But let's just take a quick peek. If anyone missed yesterday, how did we score it? Overall, the score improved to a 7. Highest score we've seen. Extremely, it's a very bullish score. So clearly we are definitely bullish. Yeah. Now, where did that come from? Long-term trend stayed the same. Short-term stayed the same. Volume stayed the same. Major markets stayed the same. Where we got a point back or a notch back is here. What was the notch that we got? We got a quarter of a point, taking our sector back to a 1 due to seeing not just consumer discretionary reemerge, but also to see healthcare moving firmly into a leading position. So it's a very broad, when we look at sector rotation, we're wondering what's the breadth of the movement. And it's very broad. We're talking 6 sectors broad. That's as good as it gets. So that has us at a 1. Real quickly, for those of you who are here, any disagreement? Where are you seeing it? Let me know. All right. Market's opening in 3 minutes. This is where we were from a posture standpoint. Well, we may as well bring up, we searched the financials. Nope, we searched the consumer discretionary and we added, trying to find my notes from yesterday. And I just don't seem to have those here. Let's see. All right. Nope. We searched consumer discretionary. We added some additions. We added some additions and buffed out the watch list a little bit. So if you haven't updated yours, take a look at the group watch list link today. You'll be able to find those, or take a look for those in the emails. All right. So let's talk about setups. Let me get my watch list ready here. Market's going to open in just a minute. And let's take a quick look at the preview for the VIX. This is interesting. So the VIX, the market is flat, down very, very marginally. And the VIX seems to be popping a little bit. So that's definitely concerning, because that is the kind of thing that triggers. Now, it won't trigger it early. And I'm wondering if we're going to see this thing drop back as it opens. So that's something that I'm going to be very curious at, because I don't expect us to open too far off. I don't expect us to open too far off from the Friday's close as far as the market's concerned. Does the VIX show the pre-market? Press is wondering. Well, we're going to see it here in about 13 seconds. But as of right now, if you look at these futures are showing only down 0.02. We're going to open flat. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, the VIX does show pre-market. Sorry. I thought you meant like, yeah, it does show pre-market, but its pre-market sentiment is a little off. It seems a little, it's jumping without enough information. I'm mistrustful. I'm mistrustful of the VIX turning up without the market even having been open yet, but it's concerning that it's showing a type of an inflation here that we have to be very, very mindful of, without a doubt. Okay. Okay, let's get started on the list. Now, right off the bat, where do I see opportunity? I see Apple. Apple is on my list that I'm looking for as opportunity. I think that the buyers showed enough. Let me get my drawing tools out. I think that the earnings held this support level. It gapped down and then it just shot. And by the time we closed, we were right back up, which theoretically means this held. We came up, got back above the 50. We're pulling back now. It looks like this thing may roll over. Okay, so for me, anything above, I would say there. So if it came down almost to 185 even and then turned, I'm going to consider that a higher low, and I'm going to take a stab at it because my thought is I've got that trade right there just waiting. Technology is strong. Apple seems to be moving back into a leading position. Okay, great. It doesn't have a phenomenal trend. I recognize that, but I'm still looking to trade Apple's increase in momentum. So Apple is on my list. Now I'm putting it on the list now. Why? Because it might not pull back for that long. It might only pull back 1 or 2 more days, and then boom, it's done. And we think that's the flag right there. So if nothing else, this move again, which is about 12 points. Yeah, that's fantastic if we got that again. Okay, perfect. For me, Apple is on the menu. AIG. So AIG, we talked about it, but then we said, well, earnings are tomorrow after market. I mean, if you wanted to, could you put it on for a day or two? I guess. I don't know. For me, it's just a wait and watch. It's a little volatile right now, a little in between or before. Would we expect pullback to 185, 180? On Apple, I would not want 180 again, right? Because that would be the same time at this low. I would say 185. That's more indicative, or around if it got a little below, but it was above 180. I'm looking for above 185. I'm looking for a mild response from the sellers here to indicate that the buyers have what they need to push forward. AMD was viable Friday, still viable today. And in fact, today would probably give you an ability to do a couple of things here. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. If I were to enter this now, let's just say I'm getting in at 174.50, even a little higher than this. I could put my stop below this day, knowing that I'm going to move it here at the end of the day for tomorrow. Or I just start with my stop here and I'm going to leave it in place for tomorrow and wouldn't move it until Wednesday. What's the difference? Okay, so this one is at, we're going to call it 166.90. 166.90. So not quite 5 points, but pretty close. 480. Okay. This one is at 170.50. So that is about $4.20. So is it a huge difference? No. It's a $1.80 difference, but when you look at reward to risk, can be. I mean, if my target's up here at 190, that's 15. Last time we got to 185. So yeah, if my target's up here at 190, let's say, and I'm getting 15, I can risk 420 for 15 or 580 for 15. One of those is 3.5 to 1. The other is 2.5 to 1. That's a big difference, right? That's a big difference. So if I'm feeling a little more bullish, can I go with a little tighter stop? Yeah, absolutely. Can and would. So this to me is viable. However, just to kind of give you a sense, in an alert, that's the range I'm going to give you. If I give you an alert, I'm going to give you a range. I'm not going to decide your stops for you. I'm going to let you kind of see, like, how does that work? Both are valid. 2.5 to 1, valid. 3.5 to 1, valid. You have to decide, am I going to go a little more aggressive sooner, or am I going to start conservative, move it up, and then go from there? Hopefully that makes sense. I've been wanting to illustrate that point so that you could get a sense of where, when the alerts come, how does the stop range work? Well, it's going to be like this, where all of that's valid. If you went here, if you went here, if you went somewhere in the middle, I'd be like, yeah, okay. Eyes wide open, know what you're getting into. And that's what we would look for. All right, let's get back out. So AMD open for business. Amazon looks a little overextended. AXP looks a little overextended. Boeing looks like it's stuck down in those trenches. We'll see what happens. BK still setting up. It's on the list. Waiting for the trigger, waiting for the price to turn. The sellers haven't done much, but the buyers aren't doing much right now either. BLDR overextended. Man, I could have got a little more out of that one. That's for sure. BX. Wondering if that's going to keep going or if that's going to stall out. I took a piece on Friday because why? Because it was at resistance on a Friday. Now what? Well, it's still sitting on this line. I think it could still go, but if it doesn't soon, then that trade's over. Citigroup. Ooh, Citi. Now you might think it's no good because this, look, I'm just moving this around. I'm just moving this around. I don't know when it's going to go yet. If it goes from here, then that's the bottom, right? Theoretically, back here, I might have started with this line like this and then been like, well, maybe it's going to be here. And then been like, well, maybe it's going to be down here. And then that's where it ultimately was. When these are happening, we're just waiting to see. We're not like, that's it. I didn't predict that's what was happening. I was saying this line is a composite of these last couple of trades. You can see even this one back here, very similar. Then what? Now I'm just moving it around, waiting to see it. We're waiting to see if this is turning. Okay. Is it on the list? Hell yes. Caterpillar on the list. Absolutely. So we've got a tech. So far, one tech. We've got two financial. We've got one industrial. So, all right. Add another financial. Now that one, you can see your stochastics has already turned, right? Already turned, and you can see that this is trying to move here. So this is viable if you liked it. If you're like, you know what, I'm going to wait for BX or Citi. Okay. If you're ready to go, there's one that's ready to go. COP, nothing there. Oil. Costco. Costco looked like it was over. Now it looks like it's maybe starting to a little bit of a pullback. What do you do with a strong uptrending stock, especially if you just traded? What do you do with that? You get ready to trade it again, right? You definitely get ready to trade it again. Okay. Oh, John Deere's going in his earnings this week. Let's take a look. CrowdStrike. Yeah, CrowdStrike looked like it was coming to an end. If you were in doubts, that should be the end of it if you hadn't already. Now what? Let's rest it, feed it, get ready to race it again on the list. May only be days. CSX, industrials, railroads, looks good, setting up. DAL, I'm not interested yet. Let me sneak presses. I like to do things alphabetically. John Deere. Okay, it's trying. It didn't come all the way back to this low, but it does have earnings this week. Yeah, I'd wait to see. I'd like to see this thing start moving again. It still feels a little sideways. DHI feels a little sideways. Here's the Dow. Oh, look at us. We're a little positive. DraftKings is new. It's got earnings coming up soon. It's in a pullback. It's new. I'm just going to watch it for a little bit and see. Ford is new. Ford just had earnings. They were good. They were good. Um, it busted up. It's pulling back. Yeah, that's flagging. I'd be willing to take a look at it. Let's put Ford on the list. Sympathy play with Caterpillar, maybe. Yeah, Caterpillar and John Deere used to like move in lockstep to each other. I mean, just almost identically. Interesting. They're not that way now, but they have been in the past. Fastenal, I think it's worth considering. It's staying high. It had a little bit of a false start signal last week back in here. Little false start triggered here. Tried to go. Oh, as long as you got this early, though, this was like a maybe even a make a little money trade, at least a break even trade. GE looks overextended. Gold flat. Google. Google is back, back in season, just not on the menu yet. It's in season, meaning the buyers did enough to be like, okay, this seems to have been overblown. Now I'd like to see if it pulls back, maybe 145, maybe a little more, and then we try to get back to those old highs again. Still looks like it has buyers wanting to come in. Home Depot, I was not convinced. It kind of moved and then it stalled and then it moved again. And all right, well done, Home Depot. Good on you. Nothing there for us though right now. IBM. Oh, IBM. Come on, man. Come on. There may be a few of us not happy about this one here. Let's see if we can get together. No reason to panic. Not stoked about this. Let's keep an eye on it. See what it tells us. Now, this decision back here. This is for me my level. This hike and actually low. 183.50, which is about 11 cents below that. So that's where I'm like, okay, crosses that, we're done here. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts. But yeah, let's give it a little bit of patience. We're 15 minutes in. Let's pause at 15 and take a look at our opening range just to kind of get a sense of how the market is moving, but not with Heiken Ashi. So we can see we gapped up, or no, we opened, we moved up, stall, stall, stall. Okay, so we're slightly positive. It's a very tight opening range. I guess we'll see. If it breaks the downside of this opening range, a little bit more consolidation, and we're likely to see the VIX picking up a little bit in that case. So yeah. All right. What else? Let's get back into our list. Okay, back into the list. Trying to remember where we were. IBM, Intel. Sorry. Oh, look at Intel. I was about to throw Intel off the island, and look what Intel's doing all of a sudden. Too long. Let's go here. Okay. I'm going to watch it and see. I'm not trading it because my thought is I'd like to see it get back up here towards this 45.5 level. You can see some resistance, support, touch. If we can get back up here, that means it got back through the 50. Then the next pullback, I would be like, if it's a higher low. So I'm going to watch it. I've given it this long. Let's see. IWM, well done, small caps. Look at those guys busting to new highs here. All of a sudden, that small cap interest is coming back. JP Morgan kind of flat. Las Vegas Sands is new. You can see that it's popped on up. Just waiting for that retracement. Meta, not quite sure. Still waiting for a retracement. Microsoft, same thing. We'll see if they start to pull back a little bit. Or if they hold up and the market moves and they just start to go from here. Netflix, I have on the list. NVIDIA just continuing to go beast mode. Is anybody still in any aspect of NVIDIA out of curiosity? Any aspect of it. If you are still riding that, that's a phenomenal job. Yeah, absolutely a phenomenal job. Okay, let's keep on. Let's keep on going here. Cars overextended, QQQ a little overextended. Ross Stores is new. I would say that's maybe starting to pull back. They don't often last long. Let's put it on the list. Consumer discretionary out of the retail sector there. Nice strong trend you can see. SMCI, just enormous still. Here's the SPY. TPR, Tapestry Inc., another new one coming out of consumer discretionary. You can see the earnings popped it up, but it's pulling back. It's worth a look. It's new, so we're going to be a little skeptical. Same with Ross Stores, but we're willing to consider these. UNP. Was I supposed to put CSX? I can't remember. They're both railroads. Oh, yeah. US. Yeah. UNP and CSX. I'm going to put them together. It's one or the other. So I'm going to put them together when I put them on the list. UNP, CSX. The VIX is holding on. I do not get it. I do not get it. If this holds like this, my thought is I'm going to look at what I have and see, how much hedge I might want to give it. That's a concerning signal, right? For me, it's automatic enough that I'm like, well, it's giving that signal. Waste management, that is a industrial that's given a signal as well. So a lot of industrials, some financials, couple of technology. That's the mix. Things that are trying to set up. Walmart looks like it's trying. Bob, good to see you. Better late than never. XBI. So let's look at it. So hey, look at that. Biotech, pharmaceuticals trying to break out a little bit, it looks like. Materials still not doing much. Communication services looks pretty strong, even as of now. Energy looks a little sideways. Financials, strong, possibly turning. Industrial, strong, maybe hitting some resistance. Technology still looks strong. Staples has pulled back. Utilities, nothing there. Healthcare looks strong. Maybe in a little bit of a pullback. I'm going to put XLV on the list. Sometimes I have a hard time finding the right healthcare stocks. I don't know what it is, me in healthcare, but there's always XLV. And here's XLY, consumer discretionary. You can see the reemergence that we talked about. We scored that. It was down here. We were thinking, not good. And then all of a sudden, there we do. We jump back up. Okay, so that's the list. That list will be in today's email. If you missed writing down the ones we've identified as our short list, not short meaning we're going to short them, short meaning not very long. This week, as we move into section 7, can you believe we're in the 7th week of the year? Section 7 is analytics. The great thing about analytics is it's more about establishing your routine, less about the work you have to do. Interestingly, this is a long section. You're like, oh man, I have a lot of work to do. Whereas last week we had this short section. You're like, oh, it's so short. Remember that record keeping is, that's the wrong spreadsheet. Record keeping is the trade log. That's when you come in here and you log all your trades. Analytics is when you go to the dashboard and you look at what's going on. Are my winners getting bigger or smaller? Well, I'd look from here to here. Are my losses getting bigger or smaller? Is my overall, sometimes we're like, oh, look at that, my winner's bigger. But if my loss is also bigger, and if it's bigger disproportionately, then my reward to risk is actually going to drop. And you'll be like, wait a second, that's not a good thing. Yes, my win was bigger, but it only counts if I can keep my losses down, right? That's the only time it counts. Is my expectancy up? Then I can get down into the contextual information. Am I managing my risks well? So my loss to risk ratio is staying at or below 60%. Are my days in trades getting longer or shorter? Is that according to plan? Right? There's a lot of information here for us that we can, did we test something? And if we did, what were we expecting? And is that what we got, or did we get something different? Right? Those are the considerations. So that's what you're working on. You're working on that section. You're looking for alerts. So, or if you're on Discord, make sure you get up on there. Make sure you get logged in. As I said, maybe the first 5 alerts will have emails to accompany them. They'll have emails to accompany them, but eventually it's only going to be through Discord. So make sure it's on your phone. Or now remember that the cadence will be 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Eastern time. That's when the alerts will come out. So if you want to just pop in as part of your daily routine, pop into Discord as part of your daily routine, fabulous. That'll make it happen, right? Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? Are we feeling good for the week? Ready? Feeling bullish overall. I have a little concern with the VIX escalation signal. We have a strong watch list, and we have a strong short list of candidates that are setting up. So overall, I feel pretty good about where we stand. Tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, we continue trading foundations. We're getting close to the end. Already through that. Just cranking through the year. It's great to see everybody. I hope you have a fabulous morning. I hope the weather's nice. Sun's coming out, or you're expecting a nice day where you are. And as always, happy trading.